Hello everyone. Today I will start the poem that's name is The Logic. This is a very beautiful and short poem. This poem is written by Jayant Mahapatra. First of all, we will do the introduction of the poet Jayant Mahapatra. Jayant Mahapatra was born 22nd October 1928. He is an Indian English poet. He is the first Indian poet to win Sahitya Academy Award for English Poetry in 1981. He has written a number of works, and his most famous and volume of poetry are: first one is Close the Sky 10 by 10. Second volume Swamra of Other Poems. And the next is A Reign of Rights, and the next Waiting and Relationship, etc. He brought out his first volume of poetry at the age of 43. His long narrative poem Relationship is set in Odisha, and it embodies of myth and history of the land. He is famous among others for his poems Indian Summer and Hunger. Besides being one of the popular Indian poets of his generation, Mahapatra was also the part of the trio of the poets who laid the foundation of Indian English poetry. We find a number of themes in his poetry. Most significant of these themes are the ones dealing with love, social problems, human relationship, marriage, and loneliness, etc. Before going to start the stanza, student, first of all, I'll discuss with you the short summary of this poem. This poem has taken from Jayant Mahapatra's collection of poems entitled Relationship. This poem is short but provocative. The poet presents man-woman relationship in non-traditional perspective. Traditional perspective is where the relationship present according to man, a man-dominated society, whereas husband is worshipped like God. But this poem brings out an emotional gap between the speaker and the man. She is talking with, and here is a single speaker because this poem is in form of dramatic monologue. And we know that what is dramatic monologue? Dramatic monologue, that means here is a single speaker, and this speaker speaks beginning to the end, and here is no other involvement in this summary. Now stanza 1. Recline in you a fostered chair under the lemon yellow logic in the golden corner of the light. So note down the word meaning of this stanza. Recline, that means to bend back, and a fostered chair, here is mentioned a fostered chair. A fostered chair, that means to fit padding, armchair, and we can say it armchair, and we can sit in this in chair very comfortably, and that is the fostered chair. And in these lines, the poet presents the state of mind of a woman. The woman dismisses him by asking him to go on resting in his comfortable chair and chase his hollow logic. The woman, here is the woman address the person, the man who is academician. In fact, she ridiculed at his self-satisfied way of life. The golden corner of the life. Here is a mention in the third line, the golden corner of the light. That means in these lines, the man seems to be having a high opinion of himself, and he shows his self-satisfaction. Next lines. Clasping geometric hands together, paint a finger quote. Success or something alike constitutes you and accomplish. That means here is clasping. Note down the word meaning of this stanza. Clasp, that means holder, and constitutes, that means translation, and we can see it explained. And then next one, accomplish. Accomplish, that means association of a crime. Now the explanation of these lines. At earlier I told you that the man whose the woman is addressing is an academician. By using waving of his hand in the air, he is trying to express himself a learned man. While at the time of talking, this man used a hand and waving his hand while talking. So in these lines, the woman says that the trying to express himself, this man trying to express himself, a learned man. He is a very intelligent man. He just showing that. The word geometrically, that means symbolically used for the intelligence. Geometrically used for intelligence. The words of the woman indicates that the man has accused her of achieving something close to success. In short, the man indicates her to do efforts for success in life. Next line. Reviewing you cozy composed gesture. Troglodytes had to find out you will not sleep with century anymore as with your women, no more than you would find me to be proof of you. Note down the word meaning. First one is cozy, that means warm and comfortable. Troglodyte, that means a caveman. Caveman, that means earlier man, when the men live in a cave. Troglodytes. In these lines, the woman point out his composed gesture and says that even a caveman can perceive the meaning of his logic. And we know that that time a caveman has no too much knowledge, but he perceived the meaning of his logic. And unlike the primitive man, that means a caveman, is unable to understand the man-woman relationship. What is the feeling and emotion should be in relation, but you don't know. You don't know. And the next one, is it clear? Next line, my skin cups unblemished milk. You shatter each lonely vein with my devoted pads of flesh. Pave the ground for what you strove to accomplish. In these lines, the poet says that woman is only a person of flesh and blood. Her skin contains purity, but the man's heart is emotionless. And the line is here, shatter each lonely vein. That means the man seems to be frustrating me. And the woman to establish a relation, but this relation is emotionless and meaningless. So we can say that there is a this relation is totally based on tender feelings. Tender feeling, that means when someone rejected the feeling of emotions. And the next line, make me small and edible love. This scalp hurts not from steep drag of your hands, but from my practiced dribble. Scalp, here is a symbolically use this, not symbolically, sorry, scalp, that means skull, your head. And dribble, that means senseless talk. Dribble is given here in the last line. Drivel, that means senseless talk. In these lines, the women request the man to make her small and edible, and so that she should become useful to him. And we can see that in these lines, the woman requests the man for love. But during that time period, her self-conscious breaks her and says that, who says that? The lady says that. Her self-conscious says that, I'm talking about her self-conscious, and she is subjected to him. She want to be a subject for that man, and she regarded as her own silly request. She thought that the request is meaningless, and thus her thought deepened her pain by to think that why does she is doing a silly mistake for that person, and she feels regretted and her own silly request. And I hope you understand it clearly, and do practice the same poem and try to understand the meaning of this poem, very short and beautiful poem of Jayant Mahapatra, The Logic. Thank you.